Hey, this is Tish Griffin here on behalf of Family Credit Management, and I am here to talk with you on whatever topics or questions that have come up over the past week regarding finances, debt, dealing with money, and any types of help you need regarding dealing with your creditors, credit cards, whatever it is. We are looking to create a completely positive financial outlook for you, for your family, and for generations to come. And if you've got any questions at all, if you've got any questions about your finances, budgeting, debt, whatever you have questions on, feel free to reach out to a counselor at 800-994-3328 or go online to familycredit.org. Use Family Credit's website as a resource because there's lots of great information there. And a lot of times we need help and we don't know who to talk to. So there are counselors that are on standby to help you through all of your situations, any questions that you may have dealing with debt, finances, whatever issues that you have, or if you're just looking to grow money and you need information or tips on how to do that. You can also go online to Family Credit's website, download Personal Finance Made Easy, which is an amazing guide to help you get your finances together. So I do want to recommend that you use them as a resource. Today, though, we are going to be talking about, I've had a lot of questions and a lot of conversations over the past few weeks of talking with your children about money or teaching kids about money, the best way to do that. And so we've got a lot of different advice that's been going around, but we wanted to talk about this because the basis of this still stays the same. We need to talk with our children about money, make sure that they are financially savvy, and help get them on the right track as well. A lot of us growing up, I know I didn't get a lot of help or information when it came to money. I didn't get that advice that I needed, didn't know who to go to. And so when we nowadays can sit down and talk with each other or even talk to our children about money, it's an amazing thing because we're exposing them at an early age and helping to create generational wealth and just get them thinking about it. It starts with us right now, though. Again, I didn't get a lot of help at all. In fact, growing up, when I asked questions about money or asked about going to the store, something so simple as going to the store, I was told, don't worry about it. Stay in a child's place, or don't be nosy. So it's like, okay, these are things that we all need to know, right? So let's get this conversation started now when we are talking to our children and to youth. The first thing is that no matter what age you start talking to your child about money, it's up to you to feel comfortable with that, but we want them to have a good and clear idea that whatever they're doing with their money, they need to start off at a young age with their very own budget. Now, a lot of people go back and forth on this with the use of an allowance or giving kids money. Should you give them allowance? Should you pay them for doing chores? And the answer for that is it's really up to you, what you feel comfortable with, what your household allows for. This is your thing, but we're here to offer tips for that. So a lot of times when you're thinking about should you pay your child or should you give your child an allowance, keep in mind that no matter what, you're their parent. You're there to provide for them. So at some point, as they get older, they want things. They need things. And it's up to you to try and do your best to provide for them. So a lot of times we may say to establish them in the mindset that, hey, you've got to work for your money. You've got to work for what you want. We may say, okay, we'll give them an allowance based off of them completing their chores. But a lot of times as a child, when we get money or when a child receives money, the first thing that they think about is, what am I going to buy? Now I can spend this money. What am I going to spend it on? And what you don't realize is that even after they spend that money, they're still going to come right back to you. So let's get them in the mindset of thinking about, okay, I just gave you, let's say you give your child $10. We're going to go with $10 a week as an allowance. And you may say, some people may say that that's high. Some people may give more. Totally up to you, but we're using $10 as an example. The first thing that we want to teach them is, along with the budgeting concepts that we have for ourselves, A lot of times we talk about, let's look at savings, paying yourself first. Let's look at what we have to pay you out each and every single month. But we want to kind of expose them to this behavior. We want to expose them to thinking about, let me start saving. So if I have $10, we'd say we take $2 out of every 10, and we are going to take it and put it to the side. Now, we may even decide, let's take it to the bank. And I think that is an amazing thing to expose to a child, to actually going inside a bank and to a bank. Again, your own preference. But it gets them thinking more about money. And depending on what age you do it, you can start as, they have junior savings accounts at a lot of the local banks throughout the city and the suburbs, which have wonderful benefits for children. Some of the banks will have different events that they offer for the junior savers. They may have different incentives or things that the child will win, or different contests throughout the summer, whatever it may be, that will help get them thinking about saving more money. And then we begin to teach them about saving. And the best part is that they can start with one amount and they'll be adding to it, and they can see this grow. And you may say, well, why is that important? Think about this. Every time we look at our bank accounts and we see more money that we put into it, that kind of makes us happy when we're able to put into it, right? But then when we have to pay our bills and that money starts coming out, our mind changes a little bit. So if we're exposing our children to the benefits of saving more now, they'll be less likely to make those mistakes that we have in the past, where we just want everything right now. We want to buy it now, we'll pay for it later. But no, if we can start them thinking about savings now, by the time they become adults, they are able to have their own enough money for a car or a down payment for a home, or just be financially sound at a point in their lives where we were not. Another thing that we want to have them think about is just being able to save, going to the bank, exposing them to that, and then letting them know, guess what? Money does not grow on trees. Mommy's not made out of money. Daddy will not always bail you out. You need to start thinking about ways to save as well while you're growing up, so that when things come along, other school expenses, different sports that they may want to participate in, they need different clothes, prom comes along, and that can be expensive and bite into our wallets too. But had we taken the money that we're giving to our children and had them save some of that, it will be less of an expense on us. And some people may say, well, it's my job to support my child, and that's totally fine too. But allowing them and teaching them to have their own, so that when they get older, they're exposed to it, that goes a long ways. And it helps you as you get older too, because now you can take your money and begin saving more for yourself, because they are financially sound and stable to continue saving on their own. And now you just have to worry about you at some point. Now, I'm not saying this is right away, but wouldn't it be great when you're ready to retire and you can just retire based off of you and the money that you've saved and not have to worry about your children? It starts at a very young age. And if we can expose them now, so that when they get their first job, the first thing that they are doing is thinking about, how can I start my 401k or my savings? My mom, my dad, they told me about the 401k, retirement, saving for retirement, or even just other types of savings vehicles. Let's get that going now, because if you start saving when you are 18 years old and you're saving each and every single week and month and year, and you add up and you start contributing to your 401k or to your retirement plan or your educational plan, you may have an educational plan set up for your children. That will take so much stress off of you as you get older, and you will allow them to be financially secure. The next thing that you want to think about, though, while your children are growing and your savings and their savings are growing, when they come a certain age, now it's time for them to look at having life insurance. We want to look at those vehicles to get them thinking about, okay, now I need to be protected. There's health insurance, there's life insurance, there's so many different things that they need, and we need to expose them to, even at a young age, because you can't just run to the doctor all the time if you don't have insurance. If something were to happen to you, you want to know that you have life insurance. And if something happens to us, we want to know that our children are cared for, that they're protected, that they don't have to, when you're not around, we want to know that they will be taken care of. And whatever we leave to them, we want them to know that, we want to know that it'll be handled correctly, that it won't be something that they'll just blow like that this will be something that they can put down and use off of and be okay without us. So these are some things that we definitely want to start thinking about right now. When we're exposing our children to money, when we're exposing them to finances, we're exposing them to budgeting first. And it starts at home with us at such a young age. And a lot of times we have where children they want. And we're trying to cover their needs. So now we need to step in and begin to teach them about needs versus wants. And this is a powerful discussion, powerful examples that you can use throughout the year, even leading up to with the different birthdays and holidays, that there are things that we cherish. Some people want to give gifts all year long, all the time. But what are some ways that we can even save and expose them to saving at such a young age? So we want to think about that. Is what we're doing something that we need to do, or is it something that we want? If we're going out all the time, if we're buying McDonald's all the time, is that a need or a want? And yes, there's a difference. And it starts with us, because a lot of times we may not feel like cooking. So we'll say, let's go to the restaurant, or let's go to McDonald's, or let's go to the restaurant on the corner and see or get something. But keep in mind, when you go in there, even at McDonald's now, a basic Happy Meal is no longer $5. It's going to cost you. To feed your family at a fast food restaurant is about the same as feeding them at a sit-down restaurant. But it's a fraction of the cost if you go to the grocery store, depending on what you buy and what store you go to. But it's about sitting down. Let's work with our kids and our family, and let's plan out some meals. Let's take a calendar, sit down, and maybe for the next week, we're going to see what is it that we're going to eat? What are we going to buy from the store to make these meals? Because now we're looking at taking this money that we have and we can save even more, but we're getting our kids excited about it because now we're including them in how our budget runs within our household, and exposing them to that is so much more beneficial than you actually thought. Because now, think about it. When they grow up, when they go away to college, how are they going to survive? We've got so many college students that are struggling. That's where people learn the joys of ramen noodles and just trying to eat cheaper. But if we had a plan where we could sit down and think about it, there are a lot of different ways that we can even make this go even further. And if we're never exposed to it as a child, when you get to college, you don't know what you're doing. After high school is over, oh my God, you don't know what you're doing, and you're struggling with your bills, trying to make everything meet, and you've never been exposed to, okay, I don't have enough to go to the restaurant anymore. Mommy and daddy's not there anymore. What am I supposed to do? And it's an eye-opening experience. But if we're starting to take that on right now while they're younger, and like I said, incorporating them, okay, we're going to have a spaghetti night. What do we need to do that? What store are we going to go to? And what do we need to get? And this is what we're planning out for Monday through Saturday. We might do a treat on Sunday or something different. We may go out a couple of nights a week, but let's put it into our budget and our calendar and let's plan for it. This is exposing your children to money, exposing them to finances and to budgeting, with the little things that we can do. So we always want to keep that in mind. A lot of times I see so many families, especially with children, when they're going to the grocery store and the child wants something and they're screaming for it and they just want. But now here again, if we're starting with just always telling them no and just always yelling at them instead of saying, this is why I'm saying no. We could get this, but guess what? That means we can't get this over here. And that is what's called an opportunity cost. For something that we want, everything that we want is going to cost something over here. Because you're sitting here watching this video right now, you're losing time doing something else. But we're thankful for these opportunity costs, especially if we know how to maneuver them correctly, and exposing your child to that at an early age, instead of just saying no, but let's put a little bit of meat behind it and say, this is why I'm saying no. Or let's think about it doing this a different way. And that way they will gain more from that. You may think, well, this has nothing to do with finances, but it really does. It has to do with your financial stability, with the stability of your children as they grow. And again, they're going to be leaving your house soon. So we want to start these conversations early on, talking about money and exposing everyone to this, and just thinking about your budget, a personal budget. A child should have a personal budget to sit down and say, this is the things that I pay for in a month. A lot of kids now, they just want money for Roblox, for online gaming, for sometimes going out with their friends. Sometimes kids don't even go out that much anymore because they're online so much. But let's see what we can do. How do we budget? Do we even know what they're spending? Do we pay attention to it? You may use the gift cards as a way to bridge that gap between you and your child, or between their spending. And that way they're able to monitor. It's like they have different online accounts with a certain amount, a set amount, and you can actually see what they're spending on. So these are some things that you actually want to think about, and keep that in mind when you're talking to your children about money. Again, we're looking at exposing them to budgeting, establishing their needs versus wants, and then just being able to incorporate them into the daily household financial plan and budget. Now, if you need some help with budgeting, or you need to sit down and talk with someone about it, you can go online to Family Credit's website at familycredit.org, or reach out to a counselor at 800-994-3328. You can also download Personal Finance Made Easy. This is a great place to start. And you can get that off of Family Credit's website, which will have some great ideas on starting your budget and actually exposing you into different things and just getting your mindset different. Now, a lot of times we're thinking about creating wealth. We're starting with our children. And then the next thing that we want to do is raise young entrepreneurs. And I know this may sound weird, but again, we want to expose children into being able to creatively explore their ideas that they may have about business, about starting their own business, about running things. And we might not even realize that our children are so talented, or that they have these ideas. I've seen a lot of children that have started their own businesses, even by doing something as small as sewing their own hair ties. And they're able to sew their own hair ties. Now they want to sew them, get different materials, and make them for other people. There are children out that will start knitting, or they may love to cook. Years ago, we always thought about the child that had the lemonade stand, but there's also those that take it a little step further too. Remember that young entrepreneur in your class that may have sold candy to you, or may have brought pops or treats and will sell them to the classroom? It happens. But when we can begin nurturing that entrepreneurial spirit within our children, that really does pay off. That's going to help set them up to become entrepreneurs as they get older and run their own businesses, have their own mindsets, and be more financially savvy when it comes to money, because now they're not waiting to get a job. They're being forward thinking. They're thinking about their finances. They're thinking about, how can I do this on my own? And yes, I'm creative. I have these ideas. I have a hobby that I love. As I get older, how can I benefit off of it? How can I make more money off of it? How can I create my own business by the time I get out of high school or college? Because that's the goal. That's what we want for our children. We want to expose them to be able to take care of these things on their own, to be financially savvy when we are no longer around, and to make sure that they benefit off of all the advice that we could have given over the course of our lifetimes. So again, when you're thinking about kids with money, that is the best place to start. Now, the last thing that we want to talk about when thinking about your child's overall financial picture, creating generational wealth, starting with yourself and just being able to pour into your child. Now, it's not just about money, but we also want to get them thinking about, guess what? There's a scoring system. You're being watched. You're being monitored. As you grow up, it determines what you will have. It determines who you are. And yes, it is a credit scoring model. We want to teach our children about credit. And we do that in small instrumental ways while they are young. And if we start now talking about, guess what? When you get older, you're going to have a credit score. When you go off to college, you're going to need to get credit. And then we say, well, what's credit? Credit is when someone is extending you money or extending you financing because you want to buy something or you want to get something. And we need to make sure that when you get older, your score is fine. So we want to expose them to and tell them about, yes, we need you to pay your bills on time. You need to make sure that you're not overspending, that you're staying within your budget. And we're teaching them things while they're young so that when it's time for them to go out and actually apply for credit, they're not worried about getting turned down. They're not worried about paying off past due collections. They're starting off on a good foot because now they're exposed and they know that, hey, my mom taught me, my dad taught me, I've seen these videos, I've seen these tutorials, I've got the books on credit, and I know how to master the system at such a young age. And that's what we want. We want to make sure that our kids know about credit. So we're going to expose them to the credit scoring model too, teaching them about the credit score and how it runs while they are in grammar school, middle school, high school even. Yes, they need to know. Especially so by the time that they are adults, they're able to monitor their score. They know where to go. Again, teaching them annualcreditreport.com or looking at the credit bureaus. And yes, it is okay to sit down and show your child your credit score, whether it be whatever you think it is. It could be good, it could be bad, again, but just exposing them to say, hey, this was my credit score and this is where we're at. Over the next few months, I'm going to work to get it up. And yeah, I want you to walk through this with me. Sit down and talk to them about it because your credit score, again, it changes with everything. And over the next few videos as well, we're going to be talking about what changes are coming in 2025 as it relates to your credit score and your credit report. So those will be things that you can share with your children as well. And to sit down with them and say, hey, it's not just about paying your bills on time, but it's about, I've got all of these accounts, and every time you ask for something, you know, this is what I need to keep in mind. These things are important so that I can stay financially safe and sound as well. I need to make sure I'm paying these bills on time. Can't always get you that roadblocks because, yes, we need to look at this. We need to look at our budget. We can't always go out to eat because we need to look at our bills and we need to look at our budget. We got to make sure our score is intact. And so you're doing this, and it's going to go a long ways once your child is older and they're watching and they know that, yes, this is what I need to pay attention to as they get older as well. Again, reach out to a counselor, Family Credit, 800-994-3328, or go online to familycredit.org. If you have a younger child and you're just trying to determine whether if they understand what something is that they need or that they want, there is an amazing, amazing book that is located on Family Credit's website. It is called Catherine and Elizabeth Go Shopping. Now, I want you to go to the website. You can download a copy, or even better yet, you can request that Family Credit mail you a copy of this book because it exposes children to thinking about, is this something that I need or something that I want? And when you're a child, again, you've got that $10 that's burning a hole in your pocket. Sometimes you may say, I want this, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this teddy bear, I need this game. But then by the time you get it, you're like, yeah, I really didn't want it anyway. The kid is like, I don't even play with it anymore. And now you're seeing that, guess what? You wasted money. And sometimes we see it as adults too, when we take the child to the store and they no longer want the toy that they just had to have. They couldn't live without it. And now they have it and it's sitting in the middle of the floor. It's broken. They don't play with it. They forgot they had it. Remember all the ruckus that they caused? So you want to think about that. This book will get the conversation started. And you can say, hey, we're reading about Catherine and Elizabeth as they go shopping. Remember when we went shopping? Or next time we go shopping, is that something that you need or something that you want? And you can help them determine that as well. And I'm not saying that they should never get anything that they want, but let's try and balance it so that the needs are covered first in everything that we do. We've got savings there, and then we can look at something that you want. Again, if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to a counselor at familycredit.org. or call 800-994-3328. Talk with a counselor directly about your overall situation. Again, you can download this and other guides. My personal spending plan is there. Again, Catherine and Elizabeth Go Shopping, and some other great brochures that will help you as you make your financial decisions, as you set your overall financial goals and plans, and as you work with your children and your family to create that wealth within your household, and then be able to spread for generations and generations to come. Again, it's not an easy task. It does take time. It may stress you out, but the goal of this is to make sure that you have the tools and the knowledge that you need to make your informed decisions and improve things financially for yourself. So again, keep that in mind. We're always here to help. We've been talking about dealing with your children with generational wealth, how to talk to them about creating wealth, and just the basis of where that starts. Again, we're looking at making sure that your child is aware of and knows about a budget or a spending plan and how it pertains to their life. We need to put it in ways that they understand. They may not understand the light bill and the gas bill, all of the utilities that come along with it, all the insurances, but what they do understand is that I've got $10, and if I use this $10, I need to put 2 of it in my savings. I need to save 5, or can I only take a portion of this and buy what it is that I want? I know I want to go out and get a meal. I know I want McDonald's, I want Burger King, anything like that. Is it going to come from this money? Is it something that they need or something that they want? So starting with that budgeting, again, making sure that our family is financially fit and sound if something were to happen with us. Let's look at life insurance at a young age, because guess what? Life insurance is so much cheaper when you are 18 years old than when you're 45. So let's start these policies now and get them thinking about that as well. We'll cover that over the next few weeks. Again, we're going to be talking about the upcoming changes to the credit report in 2025. So you don't want to miss that. But feel free to look out for other videos. Reach out to a counselor at 800-994-3328 or go online to familycredit.org. All right, take care, and we will see you again next week.